I want to talk about a specific lie that every Rapture channel says. And it's a lie they have to say, because without it, they don't have a channel. They don't have the attention they seek. They don't have the money that some of them seek. And here is the lie. There are no signs of the rapture, but we should always be watching for signs of the rapture. All of these channels talk about signs of the rapture, or at least they talk about signs, and then they say these signs mean the rapture is soon. You might say to yourself, how does that make any sense? If there are no signs of the rapture, why do all these channels have constant signs of the rapture? Well, I'm going to explain to you why they have to do this, and then I'm going to show you a good example of it. They have a struggle. The struggle is they want to instill urgency and excitement in their audience for the rapture. That is what their audience demands. Their audience demands they get them excited because rapture soon. I will soon be out of my troubles and out of this horrific world that we live in. I want out of here right now. When is that going to happen? Tell me it's going to happen soon. Give me a reason to be excited about how soon it is. So they want that. However, they want to do that without looking foolish because they're too specific. Now, again, there are exceptions to this. Some people have learned that they can just give specific dates of a rapture and fail and still get their audience to go along with it. But most of the rapture channels don't do this. They have an underlying conscience. I don't want the church to look stupid. I don't want Christ's name to look bad because of my foolishness. So I better watch myself and not be too specific. But the number one thing they want is urgency and excitement because no one will watch them if they don't have that urgency and excitement. Do you see the struggle? They still think it's possible to do this. They still think it's possible to pull this off, but it isn't. The only way not to be specific, and thus look foolish if you're wrong, is to say something like, the rapture might happen today, or the rapture is going to happen someday, just be ready. If they do that, they violate rule number 1 because there's no excitement in saying rapture someday, perhaps today. Now, if the rapture is true, and it's a true doctrine, we should all be looking forward to it, there's absolutely nothing wrong, in my opinion, of saying rapture someday. It might be today. Be ready. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. I wouldn't be making my videos if that's what they said. But that's not what drives viewership. It's impossible to have a channel if you don't constantly claim there's urgency and excitement due to the timing. Let me show you an example. So the struggle is real. Listen to how Tom Hughes and Lee Brainard try to make this work. Listen to how Lee Brainard asks the question and then how Tom attempts to answer it. We'll do Lee Brainard's question first.
Yes. Now, we've been talking about some very powerful and fascinating signs of the rapture, and I want to take a little bit of a detour here for a moment because we're always saying, not just you and I, but all of our friends in the prophetic community, that no man knows the day nor the hour. And we say that there's no signs that are immediately connected with the rapture. And yet, in our conversations, we regularly talk in a more generic way about evidence or signs that the rapture is near. Now,
and you, in fact, started the question by saying, we see these signs of the rapture. So he used the phrase, signs of the rapture.
Are we being inconsistent here, brother?
Of course not.
Of course not.
Again, it goes back to Jesus' word from Luke 21, verse 28. When you see these things begin to take place. If we take all of the scriptures, what's implied is a convergence. But when we think about it, or no, we're not being inconsistent. In Mark 13, Jesus said, what I say, he's talking to his disciples, also the Olivet Discourse there. He says, what I say to you, his disciples, I say to all, watch.
So apparently, if you're looking at convergence, a ton of signs all together in one giant package and not specific signs, then that's different. That's not the same as looking at signs when you look at all of the signs together. It's a little bit like saying, we know a rainstorm is coming soon because it's getting cloudy out. Oh, no. You don't know that for sure. You have to look at all of the signs, the clouds, the wind, the air itself, distant thunder rumbling. Okay, all of those signs converging together tell you that a rainstorm is coming soon. How is that any different than talking about signs? Just because you're talking about a bunch of signs together doesn't change a thing, does it?
Watch and be ready. So it's for all of us to watch. And then the Bible gives us literally hundreds of signs of the second coming of Christ. And at that
really
regard,
hundreds?
Again, those signs point primarily to when Jesus comes back. Revelation 19, we're coming with him. Okay, they point to there. Well, if the rapture happens before that, or I should say, since the rapture happens before that, if we're paying attention to all of these signs, we go, wait a minute, if these things have their fulfillment 3.5 years into the tribulation period, or at the beginning of the tribulation, or at the end, and we're seeing them converge, because Jesus himself also said in the Olivet Discourse, when you see these things.
Again, a convergence of a lot of signs all at once doesn't change the definition of watching for signs. There's still signs. There's a lot of them instead of one of them or two of them. And he's attempting now to try to tell you the same tired argument that we aren't watching for signs of the rapture, technically. We're watching for signs of the tribulation that's coming soon, technically. Therefore, the rapture has no signs. But if we know that the rapture is before the tribulation, then we can know that the signs that we're looking at are actually signs of the rapture, which means there are signs of the rapture. And notice Lee's body language here. I mean, I cut out a lot of what Tom said because he basically just rambles on and on about all the signs we see of the tribulation. And Lee's like, okay, Tom, we know all these signs. When are you going to actually answer the question I asked?
When we talk about these signs, we're just being faithful to what Jesus told us to do. What I say to you.
Okay, that does not answer the question. We're just being faithful to what Jesus told us to do. Watch for the signs. But you said there are no signs of a rapture. You didn't answer the question. The question was, how can you tell people we don't know when the rapture is going to happen because there are no signs of it? And then turn right around and have an entire channel dedicated to all the signs of the rapture. How is that possible? How does that logically, not even biblically, how does that logically make sense? Biblically, I've always wanted an answer to this question because I never get it. Mark 13, which they never talk about. It's always Matthew 24. It's never Mark 13. It's never Luke 21. But it says specifically in Mark 13 that Tom kind of quoted, Watch ye therefore, for you know not when the master of the house comes at any of these times of the day. And of course, they actually talked about this in the same video. We don't know if it's the morning, the midnight, the cock crowing. We don't know which watch it is. Okay, that's why you're supposed to watch, because you don't know when. These guys turn it upside down entirely, and they say what Jesus is saying is that we need to watch for signs because we're going to know when he's coming. That's exactly the opposite of what he said.
I say to all, watch. What are you watching here? We're watching these things starting to converge. While Israel's again, while people are talking about a temple again, while people are talking about a worship at the temple again, and while there's a mark of the beast kind of talk where people can't buy or sell. Unless they
No. Mark 13 says nothing about any of that stuff at all. It says you don't know when, just keep watch, which actually doesn't mean what it says anyway. It just means stay alert, stay grounded in your faith. Don't let yourself be falling into drunkenness and whatever. That's what it means. It doesn't mean watch the news, but whatever. I mean, even if it means watch the news. Clearly, he doesn't say you're going to see signs and then you're going to know when it's going to happen. He says you're not going to know. So I can't get a single Rapture Channel person to explain to me what that verse means.
It goes back to that illustration that's been given for a long time. Here in America, we celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas. When you see the Christmas decorations come out in October, you know that Thanksgiving is near. Thanksgiving comes first, but the Christmas decorations don't point to Thanksgiving. They point to Christmas. But we know Thanksgiving is coming first. Same thing with the rapture.
Okay, then there are signs of Thanksgiving. They're called Christmas decorations. Also, you know by the calendar. So this isn't a good illustration because you guys don't have a calendar for the rapture and the second coming. You don't know when it's going to happen on the calendar. So you're forced to use this metaphor, which makes no sense, because there are signs of Thanksgiving. When it starts to get cold out, okay, forget the calendar, when it starts to get cold out and the leaves start to change on the trees in the north, and there's a little bit of a chill in the air, and the sun is setting earlier, and you know the end of the year is coming because you're watching it, then you see Christmas decorations go up, and you know you haven't had Thanksgiving yet because you're a person who can observe that. You see Christmas decorations going up, you know Thanksgiving must be near because Christmas is after Thanksgiving. Well, then there are signs of Thanksgiving. Why do these guys not understand that? They're doing the same thing. They're saying we can know the signs of the rapture because we know the signs of the second coming. Then there are signs of the rapture. See, but they don't want to talk that way because if they talk that way, they're held accountable. They don't want accountability. They want constant urgency and excitement over what they say. They want you hanging on their every word. They want you watching all of their videos. They want you congratulating them and giving them thumbs up and high fives over their brilliance of how they see the signs. They want to feel important themselves because they see things and how they're really happening in the world. The rest of you are asleep. All of you other church people, you so-called Christians, you're asleep. You don't get it. I get it. I see it. They feel important. They can explain what's happening in a confusing and crazy world. Well, it's a sign of the end. It's the sign of the end. But what are you going to do about it? It's the sign of the end. Makes them feel better. But if you don't talk about it in those urgent, excited terms, it's no fun anymore. Rapture someday. Yeah, rapture some. Well, that doesn't help me. I want to know now. It's soon, it's tomorrow. Does this not come across clearly in these channels that that's what's going on? Sometimes I feel like I'm the adult in the room. Okay, and I know this is going to sound arrogant, and that's okay. I mean, just take it for what I'm trying to say. I feel a little bit like a dad who takes his kids to a birthday party, okay, and then I hang around and wait and watch and hang out. And at this birthday party, which is a bunch of 9-year-olds, there is a guy, an amateur magician, performing magic tricks for them. And he's like a college kid and an amateur and making some extra money on the side, you know. And I'm watching him do these tricks, which are blowing the kids' minds. All right, and they're loving it. They're enjoying themselves. But I see what they're doing. I see what the guy is doing. I see that he used sleight of hand over there. You know, he hid something behind something else. I get it because I'm experienced and they're not. And I'm not trying to say that these guys' audiences are a bunch of kids. They are willing participants in this foolishness. They enjoy being lied to. And these guys try to be serious. Like they literally think that they're serious and they're really into this and God is with them and God is telling them what to say. And then they have videos like this which reveal to someone like me, this is all a farce. There is no way you can literally look in the camera and say with a straight face the stuff you're saying. It's like, I'm on to you guys. I know what you're doing. I'm on to you. You know why? Because I'm watching you and my eyes are opened. And the rest of your audience is asleep. And they're enjoying themselves. And you know it. And that's what drives me crazy the most about people like Lee. He knows exactly what he is doing. He knows exactly the psychology that he is employing to keep people watching him and keep people hanging on his every word because he craves attention for himself. That's what Lee Brainard is all about. As nice as he is, as kind and respectful as he usually is, he doesn't care about the Lord Jesus Christ having the glory in this situation. If he did, he wouldn't take his name in vain, and neither would Tom. So, harsh words. Tom, Lee, you got my email. Reach out to me. I'll get on the phone with you. I'll get on a live stream with you. And we can talk this through if you want to get in my face and tell me where I'm wrong. You explain to me how you can simultaneously say, there are no signs of a rapture, but here are all the signs of the rapture. Get excited. Tell me how that works, logically. Lee, you're a logical, smart man. Tell me how that works. It's enough. We have had enough of this, you guys. And the truth of the matter is, you're destroying your own viewpoint. You're burning it. Because the more you keep promising people this and it doesn't happen, the more people are going to say, well, forget the whole thing then. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. I don't even believe in this anymore. How many times can you lie to people and tell them the rapture is soon, whether you use a date or not, or a time frame or not, or a high watch date or not? You keep promising people this is going to happen and it doesn't. They're going to stop listening. Do you understand that? Or you just don't care. Because let's have fun while we can, right? To me, this is a gross use of the name of God.
There are no signs that directly point to the rapture. They're stage setting for the tribulation, and they point to the second coming, or they point to the starting of the tribulation. But yet, if you have your eyes open, we know that we're going up before that tribulation starts, and therefore we can take encouragement.
We can take encouragement. We can take excitement and entertainment. That's what you want to say.